This is going to be an after-action report on this Ruger Security 9 Pro Series. This gun differs from the regular Security 9 in the fact that it has no manual safety right here, and instead of the polymer sights, it has steel, tritium, night sights, and a little bit better profile on them. So the best word to describe this is unremarkable. And that's actually a good thing. I view a gun like this as a tool. It doesn't look super cool. It's not one of the high-speed guns that you see on the market, but it's just a tool. And this tool is unremarkable in the sense that it just works. It's like a screwdriver. It just works, right? Well, this just works. At least for me, it does. Recoil is average. There's no... there's a little bit of muzzle flip, but not bad. It's not snappy at all. Just average recoil. Accuracy is average and unremarkable. The trigger pull, average and unremarkable. It's about a 5.5, 6 pound trigger pull ish. Handling and consistency is good to go. I can do some rapid fire strings without it moving too much in my hand. Maintain a decent amount of accuracy. One thing to note with this, right here, along here, it is a little bit slick. So if you're used to shooting other more modern guns where they have, ledges on them or some type of texturing stippling to where you place your thumb, this one you may have to kind of adapt a little bit because it is pretty slick. The texturing on the handle is decent enough in the sense that it does provide enough bite to keep this thing locked into my hands. You could throw something like a Talon grip on there, but beware if you do carry this for everyday carry. If you throw anything like a granulate grip or something like that, you're going to tear up your skin or tear up your clothes. So I'm just leaving it as is. I think it's good to go as is. This is a hammer-fired gun, and I've talked about this in another video that I did on this. Hammer-fired, it's pretty much based off the Kel-Tec. It's pretty much a Kel-Tec design. So with that said, it does have a couple little quirks. So with a hammer-fired gun, if I were to dry fire this, I would have to pull the slide all the way back in order to dry fire it. So to show it now has a dead trigger, if I do what a lot of people do with striker fire guns and come back just a little bit, doing that much would reset the striker on striker fired guns, but this, it does not. It's because this is hammer fired. There is a little hammer inside here that's hidden. So all the way back, and then you can dry fire. The manual says limited dry fire, so don't go nuts with dry fire on this particular gun. You can use snap caps, but just notice that you might have some extra steps because as you pull the slide all the way back, if there's a snap cap in there, you're most likely going to eject it. So you need to maybe pull the slide back, lock it back, load the magazine with the snap cap, and then close and load the snap cap every time if you want to dry fire it. To alleviate that, notice that when the trigger's dead, it still moves. It's not like a Glock. A Glock trigger, when you deaden the trigger, it stays kind of pinned back like this. But this still moves. So this right here, you can still dry fire, and you don't have to worry about that. So this is what I advise for this particular gun. Dry fire like this most of the time, and maybe do a couple trigger presses at the end to get the actual feel of the trigger and whatnot in the reset. But for most of your dry fire, just do this. I think you'll still get some pretty good value out of that. Magazine capacity, again, unremarkable. 15 to 17 rounds. The magazine I have in this right now, this is a 17 rounder. So just a little bit of extra space right here. The 17 rounders from the factory do come with a sleeve. I've never been the biggest fan of sleeves, but this one doesn't seem to pinch or bite or anything, so that's a good thing. And they do have the flush fit 15 rounders. If you're wanting just that extra, quarter of inch or so for concealed carry, that's up to you. But this is the configuration that I'm carrying in right now, the 17 rounder. Again, function, everything is pretty much unremarkable. The takedown is simple. Everything's pretty simple on it. It's very consistent and reliable. I've shot it with hollow points and full metal jackets. No issues there. The accuracy is serviceable. I think there are more guns that are a little bit more accurate as far as their design. I'm not saying this is inaccurate, but just due to these bigger, fatter sights, I did find myself having to concentrate a little bit more at longer shots. I did some 50, 60 yard shooting with this, and it's not extremely hard to do. But I did find that I had to focus a little bit more, and compared to other guns like the Palmetto, other Glocks, the Echelon, stuff like that, they have a little bit better sighting setups that are a little bit quicker. But this does work pretty good. For close-up work, it's not an issue. One little quirk here, this, I don't know why they put this rail, but they made it like the Glock proprietary spacing instead of just M1913 pick rail. I don't know why they did that. I would have just thrown pick rail on here, but whatever. It's just kind of a weird little thing. I don't know why they did that. With that said, there's really not a whole lot more to talk about this. It's just a solid gun. One neat little thing that I didn't know about this, and it was after watching video. So you have the viewport up here so you can see a chambered round, but also on the side right here, you can also see a chambered round. So as you're looking, not only can you look from straight up, you can also tilt the gun a little bit, and you can look right into the viewport right there and then see brass, and it'll tell you that it's chambered without having to do a chamber check or anything. Again, it's unremarkable. That's the best word to describe this thing. If you want just a tool, something that's not really super fancy, and you see something like this on sale, then sure, go ahead and get it. There have been some reports. I did some research as far as reports online, as far as the reliability of this piece. It is overall pretty reliable. There are some people reporting some issues with reliability, whether it's fail to feed, stuff like that. And some issues with parts breaking on these after higher round counts. And I'm talking like 1,000 rounds plus. Some maybe after a few hundred rounds. So just keep in mind, this is a budget priced gun. So there's always going to be a risk. There's a risk with any firearm when you purchase it. It doesn't matter the price. But with a budget gun, really make sure it's working good. Make sure you got some good stuff. Don't go crazy and start getting super high pressured ammo in it because you don't need it. I'm one of the folks that say, you know what, you don't need plus P ammo. There's nothing wrong with plus P ammo. But for this, I just, for all my 9mm, I just run standard pressure stuff. There's really no need for the plus P stuff. You can do it if you want. That's great. And I do have some plus P ammo that I got on sale, some defensive ammo, but I just haven't shot it or used it because, I don't know, I just didn't see a need to. Right now, what I'm using for a self-defense load in is standard pressure 147 grade Winchester rounds. They're bonded hollow points. They do extremely well. Especially out of this is basically a Glock 19, maybe just a hair bigger than a Glock 19 sized gun, just with a thinner grip than a Glock 19, of course. But, you know, just don't go crazy with stuff on it as far as round pressures or anything like that. Again, look around. Don't just take this video to heart, but look around, see what other people are talking about, because this is just a video sample of one. So this does not represent the brand as a whole. And that's one thing to remember with any gun review out there, because you're going to find a big spectrum as you go out and look at stuff. You're going to see a lot of people that love the product. You're going to see some people that are, you know, they're just not impressed with it, but it's fine. And then you see a lot of people that are just, they hate the product. So, you know, just look at the trends. If you see a lot of people that are just down talking, saying, man, this product isn't reliable, well, that might tell you something. If you see a lot of people that are giving a lot of praise for the product, that might tell you something as well. So keep that in mind. Overall, this is an unremarkable gun, but it does get a pass from me because of its unremarkableness, I guess, if that's even a word. I like that in a gun like this. Something, and this is part of my carry rotation. I have no problems carrying this. It's something that I don't mind using if it gets a little bit of rust on it in the middle of summer due to sweat or whatnot. It doesn't bother me. If it gets scratched up, it doesn't bother me. If I use this in a self-defense situation and I get it taken away from me to go sit in an evidence room for years and years, doesn't bother me a bit. So that's what I want. Just a good street gun, and that's what this is. So with that said, feel free to put your comments in the comment section below. I thank you all for your support, and I encourage you guys to subscribe, get your friends to subscribe, all that good stuff. More videos to follow, more after action reports to follow on different guns. This is kind of a different format that I'm going to try out. where I'm basically going to do a review, maybe do an initial impressions video on any gun that I get in contact with, and then I'm going to try and do an after action, because I think that could provide some different aspects, as far as there may be some guns that initially are great and then you shoot them and go, man, this sucks. Or there may be something that initially you think that sucks, but then you shoot it and go, man, this thing's great. So anyway, that's the format I'm going with from now on. We'll see how that works. So all right, with all that said, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there.